I'm Sophia Bernardi, mindset and business coach supporting ambitious new and rising coaches plus service-based businesses to master their mindset, create an aligned and profitable strategy, and grow a six-figure business using the Rising Coach method. I built a multi-six-figure business by the age of 24, and in this podcast, I will teach you the psychology, strategy, and energetics to do the same. Let's dive in. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Rising Coaches with Sophia Bernardi. I'm so excited for today's episode because I'm going to be sharing with you my 5 biggest lessons from a $380,000 year in 2022. 2022 was a big year for me. It was my biggest year in business. It was full of expansion, which was my word for the year as well. And I learned a lot. There were challenges, there were amazing moments, there were moments in between. And I am here for all of it, and I'm grateful for all of it. Every single challenge I go through, every single win I have always teaches me so much. And so truthfully, I have a lot more than 5 lessons, but I really wanted to share the 5 top lessons that came from my heart as I reflected on what supported me to generate over $380,000 within 12 months. Very, very exciting. So I'm just going to get straight into it, and we're just going to see where this episode goes. And if something I say resonates with you, please come share it on your Instagram stories and tag me or message me on Instagram and let me know, because I always love knowing who's actually listening, who's getting takeaways from these episodes, because it just means a lot to me. I really love my podcast, and I want to know what you're resonating with so I can create more content for you, because you're the one listening and or watching, as I also upload the video version of the podcast on YouTube and on Spotify as well. So maybe you're watching me as well, in which case, hello, I'm so grateful you're here. All right, let's jump in. You all know I'm not about dabbling around here. I don't want to waste your time. So number 1 is simplicity. And you are going to hear me say this word a lot over the next year, because this was a learning that came in the second half of 2022 and is actually my word for 2023. Simplify and amplify. They're my 2 words. And so the word simplify came up for me in the middle of last year, because last year was very much a dive in and experiment all of the things here. I invested so much money in myself in different programs, some which were very, very high level and a big investment, and some smaller ones, because I love investing in all sorts of different programs so that I can learn how to deliver my expertise and communicate my processes to my clients even better. I always put my clients front of mind, and so I often am investing on behalf of them as well to see, right, how can I improve my services? How can I learn different or better ways of explaining certain things so that my clients get the best results? I'm always thinking about them with my investments. And I tried a lot of things, and I realized all of those things worked, because I go all in and I learn from the best of the best whenever I do something, and I really commit to evaluating everything I do as well. And I tried a lot of things, and like I said, no regrets at all. I'm all here for that, and I think that's so important as a business owner, that you're willing to trial and test and iterate and, tweak things, and that is exactly what I did. But with that also came at one point, all right, I'm teaching a lot of things, I'm doing a lot of things, and some things feel better than others, some feel easier than others. And I just started to feel really called and pulled to simplify what I was doing. And I read books on simplifying, and I started to get a little bit tired towards the end of 2022, because I just was doing so many things that it was quite overwhelming at times. And I was honestly catching up on the fact that I have 3 times the amount of clients I do now than I did at the beginning of 2022. So I had a lot to adjust. My business completely blew up, and I'm so grateful for it. And I had to learn how to hold that, and to learn how to energetically be with that and be able to bring in more. And the word that supported me to be able to do that was simplify. Simplify. And as I started to do that, I started to feel so much better and became obsessed with the word simplify. And my friends are probably like, oh my God, she's talking about it again. Or my clients are probably like, oh my God, why is she still talking about simplification? And that's because it honestly has made such a big difference for me. You know, I typically overthink and do a lot of things because that's my personality type, and I had very high standards for myself, and sometimes that can just lead to going above and beyond. But what I've learned is that sometimes the best way to get incredible results is actually by having a simple process and not overcomplicating it, and that's how it's going to be sustainable and scalable. And that's what I realized. So my lesson there was just to stop overcomplicating it and take the path of least resistance and trust yourself. Trust is also a huge word that's been coming up with me. That's like a whole side thing that I should do a whole episode on. But just really trusting that, you know, I am enough and I know enough and I'm doing enough, and that less is more, and that people will come to me and I don't need to go to them, and all of those sorts of things. So just really simplifying and trusting that process has been a big lesson for me. And I feel like this can be adopted at any stage in business, but maybe if you are making money in your business and you feel like you are overcomplicating it, that this is your permission slip, that it's okay to do less as long as it's strategic and, you know, it's aligned and you're consistent. Then simplifying is amazing. And this showed up in many areas of my life. I started to look at how I could simplify my health routine and my home. I decluttered so much of my home. My home is basically hollow because I've gotten rid of so much furniture. Like, I'm really just culling everything that doesn't serve me. And it feels really, really good. And I made it my entire word for 2023 because I can see that this is going to be a big journey of unlearning and relearning and applying and seeing all the different ways I can simplify to improve my life. So that's lesson number 1, is simplicity is key. Commit to one simple process and stop overcomplicating it. Now, number 2 is comparison being the biggest waste of time ever. And I feel like I've had to learn this lesson so many times, but I feel that last year was the year that I compared myself the least out of any other year in business or in life for that matter. I think the years prior, I got very, very caught up in other people's results. And this year, I stopped doing that. I rarely compare now. I really don't think it serves you very much at all. I did a podcast episode, I can't remember off the top of my head which episode it is, but I did talk about the positive sides of comparison and how to, you know, not compare yourself to others. And, you know, I helped people to reframe it, and I got a lot of positive feedback from that episode. So if that's a topic you're really passionate about, go back and find that episode. But I really just realized how much better I feel staying in my own lane. I don't follow very many people. A lot of people on my Instagram are completely muted, so I can't see their content. Not because I don't want to, but I just want to use social media to create and not consume as much as possible. And that's got nothing to do with anyone except for myself. I think it's very natural for humans to compare, and it's going to happen, and it still happens for me in different ways. And I'm just constantly reminded of this lesson of do not compare. You never, ever know the other side of someone's story, truly. It even happened to me the other day, fully transparently. I found myself comparing, not in business, but in another area. And very quickly, I found out that that was definitely not something I should have done. And it really anchored me back into gratitude for my life and myself and the way everything is. You just should not compare someone else's highlight reel to your reality, because everyone has their own reality and you just don't get to see that. So this is, again, a whole episode in itself, hence I've already created one, but just I really learned do not compare. And so whilst it happens every now and again,
I realize it quickly and I get out of it very quickly, but I really wanted to share this because I did notice a difference last year when I wasn't focusing on so much of other people's stuff and I was focused more on my own, and how that grew my business. So I thought I would share that lesson because I know so many of you get caught up in comparison. I get messages all the time of people comparing, whether it's my clients or my friends or random people, my listeners. I hear that people really compare, and you just shouldn't, right? I've invested in so many coaches now at this point as well, always thinking that they're perfect and nothing ever goes wrong. And I go into their container and I realize that they are very normal. They go through challenges, they struggle, they mess up, they have bad days. And I'm constantly reminded that everyone is human and we're actually all the same, doing the best we can. And so you're just so more than good enough, and just don't compare. Simple as that. Now,
are you ready to create aligned, scalable results in your coaching or service-based business? If so, I'd love to work with you. I support my clients through my signature programs, Rise to Coach, which is for new coaches or service providers wanting to sign their first clients, and Rise to 6 to scale to consistent 10K months. DM me at Sophia Rose Bernardi on Instagram to learn more and see if one of my programs is the right fit for you.
Now, number 3 is that confidence in yourself, confidence in your process, and confidence in your ideal clients is crucial to success and sales in business. I noticed last year when I was running conversion events, right? I run challenges and masterclasses and workshops in my business, and I absolutely love it. And it's a big reason why I've been able to make over $380,000 in a year. And I realized that the more I believed in myself, the more I believed in my offer and in the people I was serving, the more money I made, the more I was able to convert. Whenever I didn't get sales, it was because I either wasn't believing in myself, or I wasn't believing in the person I was speaking to, or I wasn't believing in my process fully. And when I really, really switched that, I noticed that sales started to feel enjoyable. Sales started to feel fun and easeful, right? And abundant, because I had full belief. So if someone didn't want to work with me or said no or ghosted or whatever it is, I knew that had nothing to do with me and everything to do with them. And I didn't feel bad about myself because I had such strong conviction and certainty and belief, right? So confidence is everything. When I was ever in a launch, and I tell my clients this all the time, I would do specific mindset practices very consistently to make sure I was in an energetic state of abundance and confidence, because I knew that it made that much of a difference in my ability to sell and people to come to me. So that is truly everything. If you don't feel confident in yourself, in your pricing, in your offer, in the person you're speaking to, in your strategy, come work with me and I will help you flip that around very happily. Because if you don't get that one thing right, it will cost you your entire business. Confidence is such a thrown around word, but really confidence is just belief, and action is a byproduct of confidence. And I really, really teach my clients how to take action and how to feel good about what they do, and that just enhances their self-worth and their confidence, right? So it's all about belief, and a lot of our beliefs are subconscious, right? 95% of human behavior is subconscious. And if you don't have someone supporting you to see those blind spots, and that's why jumping onto coaching calls every week and opening up in front of clients and people, in the same container as you is so, so important, right? So I realized that, and now that is the forefront of every launch I do and everything I do in my business. Before I get on a call, before anything, before I offer anything, before I promote anything, I need to feel really, really good about it. Otherwise, I know it won't work. It's as simple as that. Number 4, this was a huge lesson for me, is to evaluate everything you're doing and make tweaks towards mastery. So previous version of me, whenever something wasn't working, I would stop or I would completely change things. Whereas now I learned what evaluating is, and that's simply looking at what it is you're doing and looking at, okay, well, what's working out of what I'm doing? Because there's always something that's going to be working, right? and looking at what's not working out of what you're doing, because there's always something that's not working. And then from there, coming up with, okay, what am I going to do differently this time? So instead of throwing everything in the sand and stopping and starting and all of those sorts of things, simply evaluate and get clear on why. Why is it not working the exact way you want it to? If you're posting content every single day and you're not getting any engagement, or you're not having people come to you, there is a reason for that. And you want to look at what that is. And that doesn't necessarily mean quit your business, completely change your strategy. Sometimes it's little tweaks that you don't even realize how big of an effect that has. And something I do with my clients is audit their business. Look at what is going wrong in your funnel, right? What is going wrong from finding people and showing them what you do and making offers to them and them converting into high quality, ideal dream clients? Where in your pipeline is that going wrong? And let's fix that. Is it your niche? Is it your messaging? Is it where you're showing up? Is it how often you're showing up? Is it the energy that you're showing up from, right? Is it your offer? Is it the pricing? There are so many things it could be. And unless you take the time to evaluate that, what I so often see people do is they go get another coach, or they try a different strategy, or they burn everything to the ground and start again and start again and start again. But because they didn't get to the root of what was actually working and what wasn't working, they just keep repeating the same mistakes, but with a different process or with a different coach, right? Whereas if you commit to mastery and tweaking all the time, that's where it's going to work. I'm always tweaking things in my business. And sometimes I think my clients think that, you get to this point in business where everything's perfect, everything's set up, nothing's wrong, nothing needs to be changed. And that's just simply not true. If you are a human being who is growing and committing to being the best and improving, and you have big, ambitious goals that are currently far away from you, of course you're always going to be tweaking things. Of course not everything is perfectly set up. Otherwise you would already be where you want to be, right? And the truth is we're always growing and expanding what it is we're moving towards anyways. So we're always going to be making tweaks. I still go to foundational pieces in my business all the time. I've recently really niched down in my business. Of course that's come with fear. Of course that's come with a huge to-do list of tasks, right? And these are foundational things. You might be like, why are you looking at your niche 3 years into business, Sophia? Because I'm committing to mastery. I'm committing to tweaking to get better, faster, easier results. And I found in my funnel, by actually being even clearer on my messaging and who I'm targeting, and only serving and talking to those people, the better my results will be. So that was a huge lesson for me, is the power of evaluating. And number 5 is that I already know enough. Stop thinking that you're missing something. This was like a huge thing for me. I have invested so much money in myself. And like I said, I don't regret a thing. I've always learned what to do or what not to do from the investments that I've made in my business. And I don't have a single regret. And I actually think if you really, really dislike a previous coach of yours, that's work you need to do on yourself, right? I've had containers I've paid to be in that haven't turned out to be the best, and I've never once blamed someone else for that. I've always taken full responsibility because it's my decision. No one's forced me to take my card out and pay for something or reach out to someone or respond to someone. Like, that's all on me. And if you are someone that is focused on growth and you are in a state of self-responsibility in that cause rather than effect as a victim, then you're always going to be able to find lessons and learnings and takeaways to improve for next time. And my mentality at the very beginning of 2022 was that I was missing something. And this was something that was, a big belief of mine for the 2 years prior as well in business, where I just thought that I was missing something constantly. And it was painful. It was so uncomfortable. And I have invested in so many programs now to realize that they're all teaching the same thing. They're all saying the same thing. They're just saying it in their words and their energy and their way of delivering it. But everyone's teaching the same thing. There's no secret. I'm not missing anything. I can't tell you how many times from the outside when I've been following a coach, I've been like, oh my God, this is going to be it. Like, they're going to say something that's absolutely mind-blowing and my life's going to change and this will be the key to success forever. Do you know what? Oh my God, every time I've been like, oh, cool, they're teaching the exact same thing as me. How funny is that? right? But of course, I've had breakthroughs, I've had breakdowns, I've expanded as a person, I've grown as a person. Of course, all of these amazing things have happened from every program I've been in. Of course, my results have tenfolded from every investment I've ever made, but that doesn't mean necessarily that I, was learning something significantly different to what I've learned from day one and from what I teach my clients myself. And so many people in business, in the coaching / service providing industry, walk around feeling like they're missing something and there's something they're not being told. And I think that's because the way coaching is marketed by so many people, they make it sound like they have this special secret. And sure, some people have things that are maybe more powerful than others, but for the most part, honestly, it's the people that are really, really succeeding. They trust themselves and they invest in themselves consistently with the same mentor for long-term mentorship, and they just invest in themselves like crazy, and they learn and they take action from that. So they're always in momentum, right? Because they believe so much in what they're doing that they're able to invest in it. And so I really had this big learning last year that I actually know more than enough, and I'm not like investing in programs anymore to learn something I don't already know. I'm investing because I know the power of having a coach. I'm investing because I fucking believe in myself. I fucking believe in my business, and I want to be supported in lots of different ways from different people and from the same people, right? People that really, really know and understand me and get me. Like, I've had the same coach. I've re-signed like 3 or 4 times now because I believe in long-term mentorship, right? And that is so freaking powerful. But I also believe in trying new things and looking at like how I could do certain things better. And so I continue to invest. And so my big lesson there was that it's okay to invest in yourself. It's okay to have long-term mentorship and have short-term mentorship, but have that belief that actually you are enough and you know enough and you're doing enough, and you're not investing in yourself from a place of lack, but actually from a place of love, acceptance, abundance, and trust, right? That's why I'm investing in myself. I'm no longer investing in myself from a place of fear and doubt and lack. I'm investing in myself because I want to, because I want to learn, I want to grow, I want to evolve, not because I need to and not because I'm missing something. So that took me, probably $100,000 to really learn. So hopefully you can save that, just invest in the coach you want to invest in. Just reach out to them and stay working with them, right? Sometimes it can take time to find who that right coach is, but just believe in yourself enough to trust that you have everything you need. And it's so funny because I've invested in probably at least 10 different coaches now at this point over the last 3 years. And like I said, probably over $100,000 at this point. And do you know what? The strategy I'm following this year, which is running challenges in my Facebook group, is the very first strategy I was ever taught. Actually, I just did it on my own because I just wanted to do it. I created my Facebook group during the pandemic. That's when I started my business, and I wanted to create a positive group that was away from all the negativity that was on the normal newsfeed. And I just thought of running a challenge. And then of course my first coach I invested in helped me enhance those things and things like that. And over the last few years, I've learned so many other strategies of cold DMing people and sales calls and using urgency and using scarcity and using Instagram or using TikTok or using Facebook or using ads. I've learned so many things, and I find it so ironic that after investing that much in myself, I am actually going right back to basics and following the strategy I've actually used from day one that I created myself. And that was such a light bulb moment for myself, because I realized that, sure, I've learned so freaking much from every coach I've ever worked with. And it's the combination of all the investments I've made that I learned how I could improve the strategy that I actually just wanted to do from day one and created, right? So I learned how to, master the sales part of my challenge. I learned how to master the branding part. I learned how to master the delivery and the automation and, getting my message across and my niching. Everything I've ever invested in has served me to be able to crack the code on what it is I've actually been doing from day one. I've had the strategy, and I just didn't trust that strategy alone was enough. So that is everything. They are my 5 lessons. Please message me on Instagram if this serves you in any shape or form. I would love to hear your biggest takeaways. and I will see you in next week's episode.
Are you ready to create aligned, scalable results in your coaching or service-based business? If so, I'd love to work with you. I support my clients through my signature programs, Rise to Coach, which is for new coaches or service providers wanting to sign their first clients, and Rise to 6 to scale to consistent 10K months. DM me at Sophia Rose Bernardi on Instagram to learn more and see if one of my programs is the right fit for you.